If you feel like life keeps repeating itself in ways you don't fully understand, that's no coincidence. It may look different on the surface, different people entering your life, different situations unfolding, different environments, different timing. But underneath all of that, there's something that's just familiar, something that feels almost the same, a familiar feeling, a familiar weight, a familiar question that just keeps repeating and keeps returning. And even if you try to ignore it, even if you try to move past it, it keeps finding its way back to you, kind of like a boomerang, right? And you try, you really do. You try to make different choices. You try to approach things in a new way. You try and you tell yourself that, you know what, this time will be different. And for a moment, it kind of feels like it is. For a moment. For a moment. But then slowly, you begin to notice the same emotions, the same thoughts, the same the same internal responses starting to return. And it can be confusing because from where you're standing, you're really putting in the effort. You're trying to grow, you're trying to move forward. So why does it feel like something keeps pulling you back? Why does it feel like something keeps pulling you back? But what if it's really not about the effort? What if it's not about trying harder? What if it's not about doing more, or even pushing yourself further? What if it's all about seeing something that has been there all along? Something quiet, something that doesn't immediately stand out, but something that influences how you choose, something that influences how you respond, something that influences how you interpret what's happening around you. And because it's been with you for so long, it doesn't feel separate from you. It doesn't feel separate from you. It feels like you. It feels like your personality. It feels like your instincts. It feels like your way of understanding life, right? But sometimes what feels natural is actually a pattern. What feels natural is sometimes a pattern, and patterns don't need your permission to continue. They don't need to ask if you're ready. They don't wait for that perfect moment, right? They simply repeat. They simply repeat quietly and consistently. They just keep repeating until they're seen, until they're seen. And the reason they're so difficult to notice is because you're inside them. You're inside them. You're experiencing life through them. So everything that they create feels real. Everything that they create, it feels justified. It feels understandable, right? Even if it's hurting you. But there are moments, small quiet moments where where something just feels off. Where you pause even just for a second and you feel it. You feel it. That inner hesitation. That that quiet voice that says something here is something here is misaligned. Something here is not aligned. That moment, that feeling, that's the beginning of seeing. That's the beginning of seeing. And you don't need to figure everything out all at once. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to force clarity. You don't need to force clarity. You just need to be willing to notice, to question, to sit with what's coming up, to sit with what's coming up without immediately pushing it away. Because what feels like life repeating itself is not life working against you. It's something within you consistently asking to be seen. And if this video sheds some light into your soul, like, share, subscribe, because this is Spirit of Pula, the Spirit of Rain. Pula is the name.